So what did come up in the June SBR 24 exam? This is my hot review. So the vast majority, question 1 was a group statement of financial position. Most of my students had a fantastic advantage on question 1 because basically we did that on the revision course. The idea of having an entity that was consolidated as a subsidiary but really was an associate, so you had to reverse everything out. That's exactly what we did. That was the first marked assignment on group accounts. Ideal preparation for my students. Oh, and there was lots of share-based payments in question 4. And if you buy some land overseas, it needs to be retranslated when it becomes to fair value. And sustainability, yet again, such a hot topic and will be going forward, because from September, the accounting standards become examinable on sustainability. And yes, revenue recognition. Building a motorway for a government. How are you going to recognise that revenue? At a point in time or over time? And by the way, when you're doing an impairment review, of course you need to discount the future cash flows. Of course you need to take into account the time value of money when determining the recoverable amount. And investor focus. What is it that they want to know about climate change? If you own 49% of the shares in the company and someone else owns 51%, is it a sub? Is it a joint venture? Or do you have to apply your knowledge and discuss the circumstances? Some people reported that there was nothing on financial instruments in their exam, whilst others had questions about the classification and accounting for equity investments and debt investments and the difference that made to investors. I've heard stories of a little bit of deferred tax to do with losses carried forward and whether or not that should be accounted for as an asset. Well, it all depends, doesn't it, on whether it's going to be recoverable, whether there's an expectation, a reasonable expectation of future profits. Financial assets, expected credit losses, just like my article that I distributed to my students as the last thing I did. Some of you got that, mind you, some of you didn't. And if you own 100% of a sub and you sell 70%, well, it's a disposal. You've lost control. So you have to calculate the profit and loss on disposal. Now, here's a health warning. I haven't actually seen the exam paper, but I've been talking to, listening to, and engaging with my students. And they found it okay. They found it time pressured. They were able to have a go, and that's the main thing. What do you remember that came up in your exam? Why don't you drop a note in the comments? Remember when I'm talking about what came up in the June 24 exam? It's really exams because there's more than one version that is sat across the world in the morning, in the afternoon, remotely in exam centres. Not every student sits the same exam. If you want help in passing SBR in the future, just reach out to me. That's what I do. I help students pass SBR. I love SBR, I really do. But it's also nice after exam day to get away. And I love getting away too.